This has been Strictly Ball Business.
Strictly ball business.
Strictly ball business.
I like that video.
Shit. Welcome to Strictly Ball Business, baby. It's your boy with the noise, Alec, and I've got my boy over here, Dalton. I'm not sure which direction you're seeing him in, but whatever it is, the impression is bound to be strong. We are ready to give you the strongest opinions, in fact, the strongest opinions that are connected to the NBA as we talk strictly ball business, baby. And do we have an episode for you today? Episode 57, none other than the Hilton Armstrong episode, who played a whole 6 seasons in the NBA, most notably with the Golden State Warriors. So he's basically Steph Curry, from what I understand. Today, yeah, exactly, man. And today, you know what? First of all, why don't you tell the good people just how you're feeling?
I am.
He's feeling. He is conscious. He's conscious. Today we've got a great episode for you. As I said, episode 57. We're gonna talk the Timberwolves preseason, what we liked, what we didn't like, what we are excited about coming into the season, as their home opener is on Wednesday against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Then we're going to talk about Draymond Green, because we haven't gotten a chance to do that via these airwaves. Don't know who wants to hear our opinion on that, but we need to talk about it, because just I don't know what the fuck happened, and we got a whole lot to chat about with that.
Clean Music Lover wants to hear us.
Yeah, Clean Music Lover is ready. He is palmed up. We're gonna give our award predictions as well. At least I made a prediction for MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, Coach of the Year, Most Improved Player, and Sixth Man of the Year and Rookie of the Year. So I don't know, did I miss any, or is that all the same you had?
The 6 most improved. Did you say most improved? Coach, Sixth Man, MVP, DPOY, Rookie. Yep, those 6.
I actually forgot to make a pick for Coach, but I'll make it while we're. I gotta write it down while I get into this episode here. We're gonna start out, meanwhile, with the Minnesota Timberwolves, who had a great preseason, at least in terms of the peripherals, what we saw with these guys playing together as a cohesive team. They're a whole lot deeper than I thought they were. I mean, guys like Bryn Forbes, Nathan Knight, Jalen Noel. These are guys that people maybe don't know who they are. If you're deep into the NBA, you do. And Naz Reid, but if you're not deep into the NBA, you maybe don't know these guys. These are some up and coming players. Naz Reid especially just dropped like 20 points the other night. He's a backup big, and I think having Gobert in front of him is really going to open up his game a lot. I'd love to hear what you think about Naz and these other young guys that have been showing out. And also Austin Rivers. I mean, another piece of the depth right there.
Yeah, I think Austin Rivers is actually going to be huge. I think him and Jordan McLaughlin are going to play a lot of crucial minutes for this for the playmaking of this team, because I think it's going to fall down to a lot, because they filled in with shooters. They have a lot of guys that can shoot the 3 a lot. I think Naz, we've seen in the past that he likes to shoot, and I think he's going to get a more opportunity now to shoot, because he doesn't. Even when he was on the floor with Cat, it was kind of his responsibility to hold down the paint and play and hold down on defense. Now with Gobert, not that has to stop playing defense, but he gets more of a chance to. It's not his role anymore. He doesn't fill that role, so he gets to shoot out for outside and everything. And they have Taurean Prince and stuff. I really want to touch on one thing that I saw the other night is Cat's playmaking. You and I talk about it all the time, and we think he's a really good playmaker. He just doesn't get that much opportunity to play make, because he has to score. And so last game out, 6 assists. He had a few really good plays. He had some basic. Somebody drove. He drove, kicked it out to a 3. I think it was Jordan McLaughlin hit a 3. That was an assist. He had a really impressive cross key across the key corner pass. But most of it was a lot of like face up mid range, like telling people drive around, swinging them, driving them, which was kind of weird because it's like, I mean, when he was on the three and some playmaking moves he did, he had like 2 or 3 handoff plays that succeeded in 2 threes off of him. But I'd like to see him actually do more playmaking out of the post, which will have to be mainly when Gobert's not on the floor. Not necessarily when Gobert's off the floor, but because he can, if he backs a small guy down, he will force whomever's guarding Gobert over to him, and that's Gobert's going to sit in the dunker spot. If Cat can make that pass, which I think he can, that'd be great. So I'm super interested to see, like all of the rest of the NBA, we want to see what it's going to be like with Cat and Gobert on the floor at the same time, which might be tonight. I'm not entirely sure. They face the Lakers tonight, so I think they're poised to do it, but we'll see.
Oh yeah, that'd be worth checking out. I gotta tune into that one. I think they're gonna work out perfectly. I mean, Rudy Gobert really plugs in as more like multiple players in one for what the Timberwolves need. He fills up so much for rebounding. He does a lot for them in terms of blocks and just defense in general, having that interior defensive presence. And I think that's going to work out perfectly with Cat because he wants to be shooting more threes anyways. He doesn't love crashing the offensive boards as much, but he likes doing that stuff sometimes still. He does like blocking a guy. He uses his size and likes to flex on a dude every now and then. So he still has the opportunity to do that. He's going to have good power forwards that he's going to be defending, and he's more agile to guard on the perimeter as a big man than Gobert is. So if they do have to switch in a small ball lineup for a little bit, give Gobert some break, you put Cat in there, and the other guys can be small, and you still got a guy who can shoot great threes and defend pretty well on the perimeter or against the 5 well enough. At least, you're not going to guard your the best 5 on the other team with Cat. That's obviously going to be Gobert, but Cat can certainly defend some backups very well, I'm sure. Beat up on those guys as they do some rotations. And I expect that they're going to have somewhat staggered minutes at times, like obviously not when they start, but like at some points in the game where you've got D'Lo and Gobert always together and Ant and Cat always together.
Yeah, definitely. I actually don't think necessarily that Gobert's always going to defend the center per se. I think he's going to guard whomever's closest to the paint. So like when you for example, this is just when Cat and Jared Vanderbilt were the starting 4 and 5. Like in that case, Gobert would probably guard Vanderbilt because Vanderbilt's not going to sit on the perimeter, nor is he a lethal shooter. Whereas and then Cat would guard whomever's the shooter. I can't think of a good example right now. Maybe I don't know what the Pacers have, but I know Miles Turner shoots a lot, so he's not necessarily going to guard. I don't know. It'll be up to situation. He's going to stick as close to the paint as possible. One thing I heard actually that was really interesting. I want to hear what you think, because one thing they were talking about with Gobert moving over is he said that they have to not he didn't say it, but they're like he has to come over and teach Chris Finch his defensive system. What do you think of that?
I think that makes sense. Chris Finch has designed plays with other players in mind, going off of their skill set. You're bringing in a 3-time defensive player of the year, a guy who owns the paint, and everyone guards around him. So I think it makes sense that you got to get on the same page with him about his philosophy and like how he reacts to certain situations. I think that definitely makes sense, but I don't think that's probably a big gap for them to make. I think that's probably just a matter of having a few conversations, making some plays, and realizing, oh man, we can really put this guy basically wherever we want on defense in the interior, and he's gonna absorb those rebounds. I mean, he's gonna get 15 to 20 rebounds some nights, and like he's gonna average for sure like 12 or 13 rebounds this year.
Definitely
14.
Yeah.
And like just that is an insane benefit to this team that struggled with rebounds on both ends of the court the last couple seasons. And
actually, they're one of the best offensively, but Jared Vanderbilt's gone. So,
right. Jared Vanderbilt helped a lot in that instance. but I mean,
Top 5.
Before Jared Vanderbilt was playing, they had no offensive rebounding ability. So
Period.
Once they got him, he was definitely like a godsend for the team, and I was really sad to see him go overall. He's the one player in that trade that I think is going to be missed the most. But I mean, you bring in a guy like Gobert, and it's like, well, you're not really going to miss that because he does those things Vanderbilt does or did, and he does these other things too. So
yeah,
it's really like multiple players in one with Rudy Gobert.
Yeah, for sure. And I think when some people hear the statement that he has to teach the coach his defensive system, a lot of people jump to like the entire system. It's not like that. He's going to be like, hey, in positions like this, I'm never going to chase over a screen, which is usual, but I'm never going to chase over a screen. I'm going to do this. He's like, and this is why I do this, because it does all this. He's like,
yeah, it's
the
like
other players
preferences that makes him a dominating player.
Yeah, and he's gonna be like, Chris, you have the other players do whatever you want. I'm just saying, and he's not telling him. He's like, this is what works best, and this is what all this other stuff. And obviously, Chris will make changes to Gobert's system as he sees, mainly offensive. I mean, but
when you have the pedigree that Rudy Gobert does, you can make these sorts of demands, if you would, or these sorts of accommodations. Yeah, like he arguably should have been a 4-time defense player of the year. That guy certainly is going to be a great coach someday, teaching defense. And right now, he's in the middle of his career as one of the best defensive players of all time. And he's in freaking Minnesota. I'm so glad, I'm a hardcore Wolves fan. I'm so excited to get out to game because this guy, I mean, he's the truth. And to have him on the same starting lineup as Anthony Edwards, Karl Anthony Towns, and even D'Angelo Russell, who can drop 50 points on your head. He certainly hasn't been that scorer all the time lately, but he still has that ability. Jaden McDaniels is popping off too. This is just, I think the talent on this team is really strong, and I'm really excited to see what they do this year. I just don't know. I think the sky is the limit. They could really finish anywhere in the seeding, in my opinion.
No, yeah, definitely. I do think one weakness I see out of Rudy Gobert's system is he played with a lot of good defensive guards, like Donovan Mitchell, Mike Conley. Bogdanovich was bigger, but not J-Cap. But at least J-Cap, I would say he has more effort than defensively than D'Lo is able to do. Like, so because he's going to drop on everything. Gobert's not chasing. He's going to drop on everything, which obviously opens up for the mid-range. And it kind of asks the defender to run over. You've got to fight over that screen. And I don't think I've ever seen D'Lo fight over a screen and actually get over a screen. I've seen him like run into them. I just don't think he has that defensive aggression to make that like Edwards 100%. Yeah, I get that. Noel, I think Jordan McLaughlin, I think they'll all do it. I just struggle to see, and obviously Jaden McDaniels. I just struggle to see it on D'Lo's end, and I feel like that might be a pretty big hole in their defense. I can foresee it. They might change it. And I'm sure Chris Finch is well aware of this, and he's going to do everything he can to hide that. Just like, I mean, if they could hide Isaiah Thomas, if Brad Stevens could hide Isaiah Thomas on defense, they can figure it out with D'Lo, he's a good team defender. So,
yeah, I mean, I think D'Lo really improved last year as a defender, and I think bringing in a guy like Gobert is going to make the other team or the other players on the team just have better defensive stats in general. So I think things will look better, and I think he'll be active. Getting through screens is obviously a big concern. I think he's just maybe not strong enough sometimes, and maybe doesn't have the energy for the duration of the game, and that's a conditioning thing that he needs to work on. It's possible, but certainly think there's still an opportunity for him to improve again this year, and I wouldn't put that out of the question.
Yeah, I mean, he does certainly have some hidden athleticism. D'Lo does. Like, I forget it. Like, we just saw him, like, he just yammed on a guy. And sometimes I forget he can do that. I'm like, oh, yeah. He in college, he did that a decent amount. Like, he's not, like, I tend to think of him as a pure mid-range shooter. But then when he does
Yeah.
stuff like that, I'm like, oh, I forget he can get up.
Well, he's so good at the mid range that that's just what you associate with him.
Yeah. Last thing on Gobert is I'm just super excited to see the offense. Like we keep forgetting, like how many people did he have to run screens? All he had was like Conley. Mitchell ran screens with him, never utilized him in the screen. But he used him.
D'Lo will actually be looking for Gobert.
So
and like this team wants to bring him in and acclimate him.
Yeah. So J-Cap and Conley were the main guys that used screens with him. Now he has Anthony Edwards who will use him and utilize him screens. They'll have D'Lo who's going to use him in every screen he can. Then they have Rivers, McLaughlin, Jalen Noel. All those guys are going to run screens with Gobert while he's on the floor. And I'm super curious to see if they do something. I think a Cat and Gobert and a Gobert pick and roll would be really interesting. I think Cat does have the passing, but I don't see as much.
So cool.
It would be really weird to see, very slow, but we'll see. And then we'll see what Kyle Anderson does. I know he ran some pick and rolls with Steven Adams last year.
Yeah,
but that's.
I think it's great how like the NBA was like, oh, small ball has taken over, but yet the big man is really coming back. As you've got some big men who are figuring out to shoot or how to shoot. Like, I mean, freaking Andre Drummond made three pointers in his game the other day. His jumper's looking nice. Karl Anthony Towns has proclaimed himself the best shooting big man of all time. You know, statistically, it's I think true if you hyperbolize him, but obviously he hasn't had a whole career where people are going to be like, yeah, that's kind of all Andrews to say. But regardless of what he said, he's a great shooter. And you get him next to Gobert, I think like their complementary skills just works out so well together. Like you couldn't have like any different of centers in terms of their skill set. And then you're like, you know what? Let's put them on the same team.
Yeah. No, yeah, they fill polar opposites of like the NBA spectrum, and it's gonna work out great. So we'll see how they do that season. Speaking of what do you guys think? How good are they going to be? Drop what seed they're going to be below. Comment, like, and subscribe. Grazie. So let's talk about Draymond Green. We talked about it a little bit when we were playing 2K the other day. He went out during practice, punched Poole in the face after a scuffle. They were arguing, visibly arguing. He stepped away from the team. It was just they just talked about today. They asked Poole, they asked Curry and other players on the team, is it okay that we bring Draymond back? Poole specifically said don't suspend him. So he's not getting suspended. He's playing Friday, back with the team. Does this affect? Do you think this will affect their championship run? As everyone knows they're the front runners to win the championship this year. You think that affects it any? You think where do they stand? You think this is going to come up again?
Yes, this is going to be a distraction for a bit, I believe. And reporters are going to ask questions about it, and obviously winning is what solves problems in most people's eyes. But now we understand like there's some extra shit under layers here. And if Draymond comes back with his podcast and keeps doing his garbage there, like people are just going to shit on him again. Like he's just a fucking weirdo now. I mean, he straight up sucker punched his teammate. Like I don't understand. Really why we're all okay with that. Like that's cool that Poole said to move on, but he could just be wanting to be Mr. Tough guy and not fucking talk about it. But he got sucker punched, and then Draymond Green like talked shit about him afterwards, basically saying, oh, this thing was probably embarrassed too, screw him. Like I don't know, I don't really see how they can be teammates after that. I feel like it's gonna not be an easy thing to come back together. Like, could you be teammates with somebody that punched you in the face out like basically unprovoked?
I don't know. I don't think it wasn't unprovoked. They were like arguing. Granted, but
but Draymond was trying to make out with Jordan.
Yeah,
I mean, Draymond came out and he was trying to kiss him on the mouth, and Jordan pushed him. He's like, "Get off me!" And Draymond took that. He's like, "Oh, that's what I needed. That was the kick. Oh, here we go." He was like just waiting to get egged on.
I think so. Poole did say like that. Somebody asked him, and he's like, "I don't want this to get in our way of our championship." I think Poole's just pretty concentrated on it.
He
There's a
doesn't
few
wanna be a
things to this.
distraction.
However, in the short run, I actually don't. I think they're going to be fine this season. In the long, because we've seen, granted, he didn't punch Kevin Durant, but they were arguing on court. They made a scene, and then they still finished out the season. And their season fell short not because of that, because of injuries. And then, but in the long run, Durant left. He didn't want to. And Jordan Poole's concentrated on his bag. This is his contract year. He's trying to get that money. That's a huge part of probably why he let it run. As the Warriors, I think they look at it as a plausible deniability. Like they're like, listen, we're gonna do the good thing. We're like, hey, you come back, because at this point now it's on him. If he fucks up, everyone's gonna be like, hey, you punch someone in the face and they just let you come back. It has nothing to do with this franchise anymore. That's you. And I think that's what what's led to.
Yeah, I think they show Draymond can get away with anything with this move. Because if you don't suspend him as the team, what you're basically saying is we're okay with that. It's not a problem that you do that to one of our players. He's done many things already. Like you said, had problems with Kevin Durant. He's kicked people in the nuts during games. He's gotten suspended. He's caused problems with other teams. And now he's punched a teammate. And this is the first time we've seen it on camera. You know, Steve Kerr was preaching how all these things happen all the time. You know, I maybe believe it. Maybe Draymond is fucking pulling shit all the time. Maybe he hasn't gotten this far before. But fuck, he's probably done some pretty stupid shit if he's been willing to do this. And he straight up thinks he's untouchable being able to do that. And he's right, because they didn't do anything about it. If you at least had suspended him for like 2 weeks at minimum, maybe 3 weeks, maybe a month, they would have still won some games without him. And you say, hey, we show you we're not okay with this. We want you to think about why you did that. We want you to go get some therapy. We want you to go spend some time talking about your problems with a therapist. We want you to get that anger off your chest. And then when you're ready to come back, by then people will be so indulged in the NBA season, they won't really remember it, or they'll be like, oh, you know what? Maybe he turned a new leaf. And they're willing to give you the benefit of the doubt at that point. Now, instead, you've got the opening night ceremony where it should be about the championship and the rings. But you know it's going to be a distraction about what he just did.
Yeah. See, I don't know. I don't think them not suspending him, because I think they made a point to ask that. They asked the players, as they do, and I think it's more on the players that said no. Granted, the front office could have just not asked him, but like, no, he's fucking getting suspended. However, he's been like missed game. Like, he's a huge part of why they did not, if not the reason why they did not win a championship in 2016, because he got suspended for a game or two because the technical fouls, and because he's a hothead. They could put it on him. I know he doesn't. Is this okay? No. Does he learn it? No. But I also don't think, clearly him missing games doesn't have effect on his attitude, because how many games has he missed in his NBA season because he's been
those were from suspensions from the NBA where the team still could have had his back. So in his eyes, he's validated and those actions are still okay. And in this move, they also still have his back. They're defending him. They're constantly saying, hey, we have a bigger problem with whichever in turn sold the footage to TMZ than we do with our own player assaulting another player. 2 grown men. I mean, Draymond Green, what is he in? Is he 30, 31 now? Sucker punching
32.
Someone over basketball? Man makes millions of dollars. I mean,
certainly passionate.
I think with this move, they just proved, Draymond can do anything. They don't care.
I don't think, because they did go on and say, Steve Kerr said this is the biggest issue they've ever ran.
And they didn't do anything about it. They didn't do anything about it.
We don't know exactly everything.
I know they didn't suspend him, so they didn't do anything.
Not everything has
Him
come out yet.
getting
There's still a chance he
fined
could get
is nothing.
fined. They could have.
They ruled it today. They ruled he's getting fined. He's not getting suspended. That's what they said today. As the
that he's
Warriors.
not getting fined, or getting fined.
He's not getting suspended, but he's getting fined.
Yeah.
Who gives a rat's ass about that? He
I
could
mean-
probably get the fine on a tax write-off somehow. I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, I don't side with him. I'm like, listen, I trust Steph Curry, Jordan Poole. Like, I do think it's interesting that they asked Steph Curry, and that was a huge point that they were like, oh no, we asked him, and Steph's like, just not let it affect our season. Let's just go. Clearly, if anything close to this happens again, I expect a huge, a big move to, not that he's gonna immediately get traded, but I think they're gonna start entertaining, like, you gotta be gone, man. Like, I think honestly the Warriors are looking for an excuse to shed some salary, and his contract's coming up too. And if they have an excuse,
gave them that excuse. They don't need any more.
I mean, the city loves Draymond. I mean, even after this punch, everyone in Oakland are like huge about the Oakland, San Francisco area. They're all still like, oh, it's Draymond, blah blah blah. This happened. Like, they're defending out there, and I mean, not everyone, but I think it does put them in a place with the fan base where they're like, listen, man, we tried what we wanted. We did what we could. And now he's clearly, we don't want to deal with this. Somebody else can deal with this on this roster. Of course, the LeBron came out and he's like, I'll take Draymond. We're like, we know you'll take any talent. Anyone else. LeBron, shut up. Everyone who's been on the trade market, you have said you'll take them. We know, LeBron. Just deal with the roster you have. Stop asking for more people. But I think we'll see. I do think in the short run they'll be fine. He's definitely not getting what he wants in a contract, because I think the Warriors know that he's most valuable to them and no other team's going to pay that. And if the Detroit Pistons want to give him what he's asking for, which is like $40 million a year, fuck it. Pistons pay.
He's not going to get more than like 20 from some team.
I don't know. I think he's going to get overpaid.
20 is overpaid.
I think if it's a 4-year contract, 20 is not
That contract would be
for a 4-year 20, like an $80 million contract's an overpay. I think if he gets a 3-year 20, 2 or 3 year 20, I think that's fine. That's justifiable, because like if he's 36, he's not playing nearly the amount of that he's gonna, like, he's not gonna be as effective when he's 36, because I think he's 32. I'm gonna look up how old he is. This will affect. It's AY? Yeah, Draymond Green punch. The third Google. Draymond Green punch. Yeah, he's 32. Oh, nice. I'd kill it. What's Podol? I haven't played my Podol today. I knew he was 32.
Wants to retire in 2 years. He'll get a contract and retire in 2 years when his back starts hurting. He'll do the podcast full time.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I think he's gonna start retiring when the Warriors start declining, because he's not gonna want to play any part in that. Yeah.
They'll decline.
I think if they hold on to Andrew Wiggins and Wiseman turns into something, I think Kuminga's like, if I were him, I don't know why he'd be like this. Like, they already have his replacement. Like, they drafted his replacement. And his replacement's really good. Like, I love seeing all the potential from Kuminga. Like, why the fuck are you giving them more reason to be like, yeah, we'll just go with him? like he's right there. It doesn't make any sense. But what do you guys think of the Draymond punching him? Comment below. What does he deserve for a contract? When his contract comes up, what are you gonna pay him? Comment that below. Let us know. But the season hasn't started yet. We're gonna make some guesses on awards that we have no idea. We have no reference on where the season will go. These are all collective shots in the dark. Best educated guess. We're gonna start with MVP. Who do you think? Who are the nominees for MVP? Did you write down any nominees, or did you just write down a winner?
My nominees are Luka Doncic, LeBron James, and Joel Embiid. That's who
Oh,
I
no
think are
Giannis?
going to be the final three. No Giannis for my final three.
No Curry, no
I'm
Jokic.
gonna give the award to Joel Embiid. I think this year he's gonna break through and get that award. I think him and a couple other guys will go back and forth for the most points per game. Ultimately, he'll have around 30 and he'll get a ton of rebounds. And I think the Sixers are gonna have a great regular season. We'll see what they do in the playoffs, but ultimately in the regular season, I think they can get a top 3 record in the East, and really think they're going to open things up here in year 2 of Harden there as well.
I do think so. I have Giannis because I do think Giannis is going to come out. I think they're all fired up. There have been a couple years displaced from their championship run. I think they have something to fight for now, even more so. So I think he's going to come out hot. I think he's going to have a solid season. I do have Embiid in there. Same things. But I think, and then I have Luka. My MVP winner is Luka. I do think he's going to get a huge nod. He has a worse team than Harden. Than Embiid. And I do think he's going to pull him to be a 3 or 4 seed this season. Christian Wood helps. They're going to have a full season of THT. Not Taylor Horton Tucker. Tim Hardaway Jr. I think he plays great next to Luka. I think they're going to get everything out of everyone. A full season of Dinwiddie. I think we're going to see that team do a lot better, and it's purely going to be because of Luka. I don't think there's going to be it's going to be really hard not to make an argument for Luka for our MVP after this season.
I think he'll have a great season. I think ultimately the Mavericks are going to have a worse record than they have last year. I think they were the 4th seed. I don't see them getting the 4th seed. I see them more as a 6th or a 7th this year. So don't see that low of a seed. Winning the MVP certainly possible. Happened with Jokic last year, but you got to have a transcendent type of season, an all-time season, which Luka is not going to have. I'm stamping it in. Luka not for MVP.
I don't know about that. I think he's going to have a crazy season.
I think he's going to have a great season too, but not a record-breaking all-time season, which is what he's going to need to have to win the MVP.
But is Embiid going to have one?
He's going to have an Embiid season, which is good enough for MVP.
Clearly not.
It was basically good enough last year, except for Jokic, again, had a record-breaking season, which he's not going to have this year.
All right.
I think Embiid will ultimately have a great season. I don't see anybody breaking any records this year.
Okay. Well, who do you guys think is going to be MVP? Comment below. Defensive Player of the Year. This one is kind of everywhere. I don't think we're gonna have the same people we've had the last few years. Not completely. I do think obviously one guy's gonna be hanging around. Who do you think? What's your nominees for Defensive Player of the Year?
My nominees are Giannis, Rudy Gobert, and Bam Adebayo.
Okay.
And I'm gonna give the win to Rudy Gobert, as he is going to ascend the Timberwolves defense to new heights, and people are going to begin to like Rudy Gobert this year because they decided to be just like haters of him while he was on the Jazz. But now that he's going to be on a new team, they're going to be like, oh, wait, he can do this on more than one team. He really is great. Oh, I was such a jackass the whole time. Now, maybe they'll think that. But in reality, most internet trolls will continue to internet troll. But Rudy Gobert will continue to do his thing as well. Get 4 blocks per game this year. He's going to get a ton of defensive rebounds. He's going to just stifle it up. I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah. I also had Rudy. I also had Bam. Instead of Giannis, I had AD actually. I do think he's the X factor. I think he's gonna have a full season with the Lakers, and I think he knows that's what he has to do to make the Lakers excel. He's been there before. He's been a Defensive Player of the Year nominee before. He certainly has all the potential in the world to do it. I think he's going to get there. I do think my Defensive Player of the Year, I think it'll be Bam. I think we're going to see a huge jump out of Bam, and Bam's ability to guard the 3 and guards is huge, and I think we're going to see a lot out of that too. So I think they're going to lean in a lot. He's going to stay on the floor the entire season. I think it'll be Bam's first, and I do think voter fatigue's still going to pass in because it could be Rudy or Bam. If I had to guess, it would be Bam because people don't like. Not many people like Rudy, let alone He's already won it 3 times. We'd be like, oh, let's give it to Bam. It's his first time. He deserves it.
Yeah, but if his stats end up being better than Rudy, I mean, if his stats end up being better than Bam across the board, they're not gonna do that. Like they can talk all that way that they want, but then once they come to looking at the players one by one, they're gonna be like, I can't vote for Bam over Rudy. That's just purposely being an idiot.
I don't know about that. I mean, you could like even like proportionally, Marcus Smart's compared to Rudy's stats still heavily outweigh.
And
Marcus
I agree.
Smart.
Marcus Smart shouldn't have won it last year.
But you think they're going to make that correction this year? I doubt they're going to make that correction this year. I think
last year they just really wanted to go with a guard. They were tired of Rudy Gobert winning it. I don't think this year, like if they go with a big man, they're going to be like, oh, we're still tired of Rudy Gobert.
We'll see. Who do you guys think is going to win? All right, Rookie of the Year, my favorite. I know what's going to happen. We know what's going to be Rookie of the Year. I already know the answer. But I'm gonna let you say your nominees. I'm gonna let you say who you think it's gonna be. But we both know who Rookie of the Year is gonna be. Who's it gonna be? Talk to me.
My nominees are, let's see here: Paulo Banchero.
Yeah, there it is.
Keegan Murray and Jabari Smith Jr. And you know the answer. Everyone thought it was obvious, but it wasn't. Because I decided to go with Keegan Murray, you son of a bitch. I think his man is amazing. He had a great preseason, and he's going to come out and be the staple that the Kings need as a defender and as a scorer. I mean, he can shoot well. He can drive in. He's a great slasher. And I think the IQ on this player is great, too. He spent all 4 years in college, and really looking forward to see how he could develop in the NBA. So I know you were hoping for Paulo Banchero, and obviously I think he'll have a great season as well. But I think our boy Keegan Murray is going to win it.
We have the same nominees, and I did think about Keegan Murray. I did. I was like, I'm not just gonna say Paolo. I gotta think about it. And Jabari, I just don't think. I think he's gonna have a slower start. I think he's just gonna be off ball. I don't think he's gonna be that much. Keegan Murray, I was like, he's shown a lot. He's impressed me. He's probably the best defensive player of this draft. He's a solid shot. He's not gonna get enough touches, and they don't give Rookie of the Year for defense. It's gonna be Paolo because he has nothing. He has nothing on the Magic. Have nothing. They're gonna be like, Paolo, do whatever the fuck you want. This guy's gonna score like 19, 20 points per game. He's going to get like 5 assists, 7, 8 rebounds. He's going to get a lot of steals, play some solid defense. He's going to be out there. That's not said. He's going to be the Rookie of the Year. He's got nothing but space. Keegan Murray has to play with 2 stars. Paolo, he's got the next best guy next to him is best to Paolo is Wendell.
You're right. He's got lots of room to dominate. I think he's the favorite. But Keegan Murray, I think, is going to have a great season too. So, it'll be fun to see. I think it'll be a race, no doubt. Is there any great big man that are going to be in this race, or is it really just hoping Jalen Duren turns into something?
Yeah, I don't see Jalen Duren turning into. Hypothetically speaking, if Chet never got injured, would Chet be a Rookie of the Year? Would he be a nominee?
Chet would have been my pick if he was healthy. I think he just has a ton of potential. And I think he would have had a ton of opportunities with the Thunder. But now, real nervous for Chet. Maybe his development's going to be like Joel Embiid, but we'll see.
Which isn't the worst thing in the world. It just pushes you back, pushes the team's timeline back a little bit, and puts a little more pressure on them and SGA because they still have to please SGA. And if they have to wait 4 years for him to be good. Chet to really take off 4 years.
You'll have to move on from SGA at that point. You
really arguably Lou Dort too.
Yeah. Really a couple guys you keep drafting guys, you keep reopening the window and finding new guys, but eventually you have to win games. And the Magic, they want to win games this year. They had the number 1 pick this year. They don't really want to get the number 1 pick next year. Victor Wembanyama would be great, but they feel good about the young players they have on the Magic. But now with guys injured like Suggs and Fultz, is it back to we're okay with losing more games?
Yeah, I think I think they're gonna see how the season goes. I think they're gonna see how everyone plays, just like most season play. They're gonna see how it goes, and they're gonna be like, if we start off, we're not winning that many games. They might, and we're not like a lot of teams. If they have a hot start, then you're like the Cleveland, not this last year, but the year before, they had a hot start to that season. They're like, we have the potential to win. They didn't tank or anything, but they're like, we're close. That's how they see they're close. So I think if the Magic come off like really hot and they win their games, they're like. Then they're gonna be like, we're close. Maybe we should look at bringing trades in, bringing in vets to start moving up. Whereas if they don't, maybe they're gonna be like, fuck it, let's get Victor.
I mean, I don't think it's a bad idea to trade for a guy coming into next season. If they win some games this year, I could see it being worth bringing a guy in, some type of veteran. I mean, the Pistons just traded for Bogdan Bogdanovic and really gave up only a couple second rounders to make it happen. So.
Might as well.
Some type of move like that's for a similar type of player, I think would be great.
I bet the Lakers are just sitting over there screaming. Like, we could have got Bogdanovic for 2 seconds.
Yeah,
LeBron's
I don't
beating
know how they would have.
Bus.
I don't know how they would have freed up the money. I mean,
oh yeah, I guess they
really they're so tight with their money and their picks, what they have. I mean, they were able to get Patrick Beverley, and really that was their biggest move because they gave up Talen Horton-Tucker, which was the biggest salary they really were able to trade for any value.
Yeah, and THT.
Until you fucking get rid of Russell Westbrook, I mean, you're pretty stuck with making marginal moves.
Yeah. I mean, at least they only have a year of that. But then again, they still don't have cap space even when he leaves. People forget they're just not like that far into the lottery. Like they still have 2 max contracts. Plus, like a few other guys. They have more flexibility.
Max at that point.
No, you can't get a max. You could probably put together a trade for another max, maybe if you sign contracts here and there. But you can't sign.
You would be able to get another max out of it because Patrick Beverley's also a free agent after this year, so they'll free up that money, and maybe something else. I mean, I think they've got enough contracts coming up where they would be able to get that third max.
I don't think they can get a third. I think because like the NBA really just for free agency wise, they only let you like if you have 2 maxes, you can't get another max. Like just like salary wise.
That's true. I think you can. I think 3 maxes was like kind of the maximum amount you can get on a team, or maybe it's like you have to finagle it right to be able. You have to like trade for the guy, but you can always get 3 maxes on a team.
You could have 3 maxes on a team, just not sign. If you already have 2 maxes, you can't sign a max. I think you can sign. They could probably sign up to like 30, 20, like 25 or 30.
They could find a sign and trade though.
Yeah, probably.
Is how players just get on teams now, and they can do a sign and trade to get a max, a third.
Yeah,
max.
Nobody's giving Russell Westbrook a max, and you'd have to get close to the salary.
No, you wouldn't sign and trade with Russell Westbrook. You would sign and trade. With whatever small contracts you have. I don't think you'd have to completely match at that point. I think you could do Patrick Beverley and a couple role players.
I mean, you'd have to come close. Like even Patrick Beverley and a couple role players would probably get you like to 20, 25. I don't think the NBA doesn't let unless the other team signs over an exception, which is pretty rare unless you're the Celtics. Oh. But that was Rookie of the Year. Let's get into the more interesting. These last 3 I like talking about because they're very interesting because they could be really anybody, So most improved. I want to hear who you have for most improved.
Josh Primo.
Okay.
I think Josh Primo will get more opportunities this year. Probably come off the bench for a bit. Hopefully become a starter eventually in the season. And I think in his second season, they'll be looking to give him more opportunity and, really hoping that he's a guy that can pop out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that your only most improved?
That's who I got winning it. I mean, I don't know for other guys' nomination. I didn't really feel comfortable nominating many guys. I feel like this award is pretty much fucked after last year. Giving Ja Morant the award made no sense. So now pretty much it's just going to become, who's the really good player who became great? And it's like, that isn't what the award was supposed to be.
Yeah. It mainly the NBA used to use it. Like you look at Oladipo got it the year he became an all-star. Julius Randle got it the year he became an all-star. Giannis got it the year he became an all-star. It's like that when they hit that milestone is like that's what I like to think is the most improved. Miles Bridges.
Well, it feels like it comes out of nowhere in a way where like I think Paul George maybe won it, and like Paul George, like the casual NBA fan didn't know who he was till all of a sudden he popped out. Somebody else maybe too, but
Pascal Siakam.
Pascal Siakam, yeah, that's the other one. Like nobody knew who he was, and then like he just slowly got better. He started dominating. Then it was like, okay, this guy's got some really good fundamentals. He can rebound well. He can shoot the mid range. He's got this weird like spinny thing, but you know what? He's quirky. I love him. I love it when players show out like that, and I like giving recognition to those guys. Like John Morant didn't need any more jerking off.
Yeah, like. I mean, I don't even think he was the most improved. Like,
no, it wasn't even a good.
I think Jordan Poole was a better candidate than him.
Yes.
Miles Bridges, R.I.P.
Jordan Poole would have made so much more sense. The guy who literally came out of the G League and no one had like really heard of, and the Warriors got him.
Well, he was still a first round
pick after they won a championship, but so last pick of the round, it's like usually you assume those picks are scrap.
Yeah. Also, Jordan Poole was trash his first 2 years in the NBA. His third year. Right. This last year was his only good year. Yeah. But so I have 3 guys who I'm hoping will do that. First guy is Davion Mitchell. I think if he starts, he's going to have a huge role. I think he certainly has it if his offense can get up there. I don't think he's going to score 20 points a game or become an all-star or anything. Yeah. But I think he can get close to 15, 16.
Average 15, 16.
And I think that's enough.
Be really good. Yeah, I thought about Davion, but I didn't want to put 2 Kings in my awards. Already. Yeah,
that's all right. I mean, I didn't really care about that stuff. I tried to think about most likely, but the second guy's actually pretty. I thought about it and I was like, you know what? It's possible. It's Lauri Markkanen. So he's going. Who's on that Jazz team? And I mean, he's had all that anticipation. Obviously, like they usually don't give it to like 6th, 5th, 6th. He's a 5th year player. 5th year. This is a 6-year players. But like, I think he might be able to justify. I do think he's going to get close to 20. 22. I think he's gonna have all-star type numbers on this team because it's just Colin Sexton. Who else? Who else? Like Mike Conley's not gonna do
all-star numbers for Lauri Markkanen.
Obviously, they're gonna be empty. That not fully empty, but I think that he's gonna get close up to there. He already scored like close to 15 points a game this last season. I think on the Jazz. Who else?
What do you consider all-star numbers?
Like above 20.
He ain't getting close to that. I think he could maybe average 17.
I don't know about that one. I think he's gonna average pretty close to 20 and 19.
You're crazy. You're on drugs, sir.
Well,
I think Malik Beasley's gonna get a ton of buckets. So he's gonna put block shots. I think Jordan Clarkson, if he's still staying, I think he's just gonna have an elevated role. I mean, who do they have outside of that?
Colin Sexton.
Colin Sexton. Yeah. I mean, interesting players here, but like. I don't know. Lauri Markkanen, I think, is going to maybe score 2 or 3 more points per game than he did in Cleveland.
Okay. But my last nominee, who's also my winner, is Wendell Carter Jr., you son of a bitch.
Oh, you son of a bitch, Wendell Carter.
Wendell Carter. I think he's going to have a huge jump this year. He has nowhere to go but up. Fultz is coming back. Paolo has shown he's a great playmaker. I think he's gonna be nothing but good this year. I think he's gonna increase. I think he's gonna have legit all-star numbers. I do think he's gonna have legit all-star numbers.
We should make a bet because like you just like love Wendell Carter in an irrational amount. Like
irrational or
you willing to put money? You willing to put money on him making an all-star game this year?
I'll put money on him making an all-star next year.
For this, what do you want to make a bet for this year? Name your thing. What's a goal for him?
Higher than 18. Higher than 18 and 10. 18 points and 10 rebounds.
Think he's gonna average at least 18 points, 10 rebounds?
Yeah.
Dang, that'll be pretty good. I think he won't do that. I don't think he's gonna get to 18 points per game. So I'm willing to put money on that.
How much?
So, I would put as much as 50 on that.
Okay, I do 50. We can. I mean, we're not making it now because gambling is illegal.
It's a season-long bet.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's illegal.
It's illegal, but we're just hypothetically talking about.
Yeah. Our V-Bucks. We're talking
Our V-Bucks.
Fortnite money.
We're
Or
talking
our Roblox
VC.
Bucks.
VC. This is all VC. We're just talking 20 VC.
My career points. Or
My career
whatever.
points.
My points.
I'd be down to make that bet.
Okay. Sounds good, man.
Worth VC.
Gets my blood going.
Hell
There's
yeah.
Something on the line.
I have to. Wendell, if you see this, don't fail me.
Let me down.
20 is a lot of 20 VC's like 50 actual dollars. It's like VC's better currency, but anyway,
That's a good pick.
so that's MIP. Who do you guys think is going to be the most improved this year? Comment below, because it's none of the guys we thought were going to be most improved ended up being most improved this season.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a hard one to predict, I feel
It
like,
is.
but I don't know if we had predicted Miles Bridges was going to have a good year. I think we ended up talking about him a lot last year and thought he was going to win that award.
yeah,
But
I
don't
I
know.
yeah, I remember I guessed Rui Hachimura, and I was pretty
Rui,
set on
yeah.
that, but that one hurt. That
Yeah,
sucked.
you're a big Rui guy. I was dogging on you for that.
Then he was
too.
injured half the season.
Oh,
I was
yeah,
like,
he's just kind of fizzling. I mean, like, if he doesn't have a great year this year, what's he gonna be? Just some role player the rest of his career, probably.
I think this will be the year. This is the year that matters, and then they replace him with Denny for a year, and then that's the year that it matters for Denny. But I all things are pointing to, like, he had a great summer league. I mean, he had a great summer league. He had a great Euro League when he played for Japan. That was great. So we'll see. But let's move on. Coach of the year. Did you get your nominees? Otherwise, I can start off on this one.
Yeah. I mean, my nominees are Scott Jenkins, Jason Kidd, and JB Bickerstaff.
Taylor Jenkins. Or
Yeah,
Scott?
Taylor Jenkins. I meant. Sorry. Scott Jenkins. Maybe a politician. My brain, apparently. I have JB Bickerstaff winning this one. This was a tight one. Definitely think Jason Kidd could win this award if the Mavericks end up with like a top 2 seed, top 3 seed. But as I said earlier, I don't think they're going to do that. But they'll still have a good enough season to maybe get nominated. But I have JB Bickerstaff ultimately winning this award. I think Cleveland will finish with a solid record. A lot of that might end up getting attributed to their new player, Donovan Mitchell. But I think still a ton of credit should go to JB Bickerstaff if they end up having a great year. He seems like a really solid coach. And I think it'll be a challenge to bring in a high scorer like Donovan Mitchell and put it on this established team. Like, I don't think that's an easy thing to do. I mean, you kind of have to change your whole offense for him.
Yeah. Who's your third? Taylor Jenkins, JB Bickerstaff. Who's your third?
And Jason Kidd.
Okay. I had JB Bickerstaff. Is winning it for me. I think there was a massive argument for him this year. I think he's going to be able to push them to a second and third seed for the regular season. I do think they're going to make it out of the first round. The Cavs, at least. I think they're going to make it to the second round. I think they're going to fall short this year just because of inexperience. So but they could be like the Hawks that one year and make it to the conference finals. I could see that happening. So I also had Jason Kidd, but my third guy was Chris Finch. I think Chris Finch, he has a lot of tools. I think he's going to be able to put that together. I think that's going to get him a nominee because I think the Timberwolves are going to have a great regular season. I'm not entirely sure how they'll do in the playoffs yet, but I think they're going to have a great regular season, and that's what this is based off of. So,
yeah, I certainly thought about Chris Finch as well. Think he's going to have a great year. As long as the Wolves finish with a great record, we'll probably get some votes.
Yeah, I do think it's like worth saying that, like, granted, yeah, he has a lot of tools, like a lot of all-star type players, but like they don't. If you put all those guys on a pickup team, like versus other NBA players, I don't think they fit well. I don't think they're necessarily the best fit
For sure.
Yeah, I think
we haven't seen a guarantee that two big men together like this can work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I mean, that's a big challenge in itself. Getting Anthony Edwards to become a great defender, if he can do that this year, that would be a huge accomplishment. And getting a lot out of this bench too. If they end up having one of the better benches in the league, I think the coaching staff deserves a ton of credit. just for being able to bring the unit together.
Yeah, and Taylor Jenkins is good. I think I considered him, but I actually don't think the Grizzlies are going to have a better year this year. I think they're going to lose more games. Not saying they're any worse. I just don't think they're going to have as good of a year as they did this year.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, it probably won't get a ton of votes just because now that they had the 2 seed last year, people will have high expectations. And basically anywhere below the 2 seed, I guess they could take as a disappointment if they want to.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I probably have them finishing around the 6 seed, maybe the 5 seed, which is still a great spot in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But you know, maybe that's considered a disappointment for them based on last year. I don't know.
No, yeah. We'll see. But who do you guys think is going to be coach of the year? Is there someone we forgot that we should have mentioned? Comment that below and let us know. So our final award, the SMOY, the sixth man of the year. Also a guy who a couple years ago we always had at least 2 or 3 guys that we just knew were going to be 6 men. Now it's just kind of up in the air. Plus we not with the uncertainty whether that like the Heat are saying Tyler Herro is going to start. That's one guy that's off the table. J-Cap, is he going to be a 6th man? Because he might be like one of the better players on the Jazz. Like, you're gonna sit. So like, it's up in the air. I didn't actually have either of them in my nominees, but who do you think is gonna be?
I definitely think if Tyler Herro comes off the bench, he's the guy. But if he starts, obviously can't really be considered for that.
Mm-hmm.
I had a hard time finding nominations for this one, but I ultimately. I think Jalen Noel will have a great year. I think Duncan Robinson will have a bounce back year. So I've got him in this one. I don't think they're going to let that contract go to waste. I think they've been working with him in the offseason and they want him to provide some value ultimately. And then, my last one is Bones Highland with the Nuggets. I think he's a guy who can pop out as a potential scorer this year.
Yeah, he's certainly in position to.
Yeah, so those I think are 3 solid players. I ultimately have Jalen Noel winning it. He's going to be in an elevated role this year, and wanted to be a homer on that pick. Maybe he's not the best choice, but he can shoot a bit. He can drive in. He's aggressive, and he's basically taking over Malik Beasley's role from last year.
Yeah,
the last couple of years, and that's a big role to fill. He's basically going to be playing starter minutes.
Yeah, no, 100%. I actually didn't have any of those guys on my nominees. I did. I really like Bones Highland was a good one. I'm not sure if Noel's gonna get that many minutes off because I think a lot of them minutes are gonna be split between Rivers, Forbes, especially if Gobert's on the floor. I expect Forbes to be on the floor a lot when he's with the bench unit, and Anderson obviously. I actually had Bobby Portis, and that's obviously assuming. Lopez is back, not Chris Lopez. Lopez is back as the starter. I think Bobby Portis is going to have a lot of minutes if they can stay healthy. He's going to be he already is a 6-man type. He's the 6th man for that team, and I think he can put up those numbers. Malik Monk. I think he's going to be a 6-man. Because also they really like Herter. The Kings do too, and Herter between Herter, Mitchell, and Monk, all of them have an equal chance of starting. I think. But I think Malik Monk will. I think he's going to be a bench player. I think he should start, or at least spend as much minutes with that rotation as possible. But I think he's going to be able to put up a lot of offense. The guy I have winning it is Jordan Poole. There's a lot of guys people forget about. Plays back, and they did run, and I don't see them having Green or Wiggins coming off the bench. I think obviously they're going to keep starting Looney. Maybe Wiseman in and out. So I do think Jordan Poole is going to be the 6th man of the year. I think he's the front runner. I don't see any excuse for him not winning it. We talked about it earlier. He's a great talent. Little overhyped, but I think as a 6th man, he's going to fit perfectly.
Yeah, I actually was going to pick Jordan Poole, but I was not 100% sure if he's not starting this year. I mean, I know Klay Thompson is back, but I thought maybe they start Draymond at the 5, play some small ball games, and maybe they start all those guys.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's a situational thing, but certainly think that's a great choice. And I mean, Oh, hopefully he doesn't get offended coming off the bench because, like, I think he's still gonna get plenty of minutes and he should be a great player for them. So he'll get his bag regardless.
Yeah, I do think he has so much respect for Steph Curry. I think if Steph Curry tells him that's gonna, not that Steph Curry's the one that makes the decision, but if Steph Curry's behind it, I think he's gonna be like, all right, yes, sir.
I mean, ultimately, like, you want a championship with the team, like.
And he was the sixth man in that championship team. I think he knows the role he has to fit.
Played a big role. I mean, it's not like he's a bench like warmer. I mean, he's playing plenty of minutes.
Yeah, and I think honestly, like he would relish the idea of be like, hey man, just come off the bench. You'll be a six. We'll get you that 6 man award.
Maybe the primary scorer in some situations.
Yeah.
You're also still out there in crucial time. A lot of the time, you know, if we need you out.
Yeah. They'll do that small ball, and they're like, you'll get your minutes. Just come off the bench, you'll get 6 man of the world, and we'll win a championship. He's gonna be like, yeah, fuck yeah. And then
why not?
Yeah, but maybe that's what Draymond punched him over. He didn't want to be 6 man. But that was our award predictions. What do you guys think of it? Comment below. What did we get wrong? What did we get right? Just let us know. Just talk to us. That's all we want. I do have one last topic. I just want to touch on it. There's been a lot of rumors with Miles Bridges. You and I both know he's not playing basketball anytime soon. But there's been rumors out there that the Detroit Pistons are interested in giving him a contract, signing him long term, getting him in there. It's where he's from. They're inclined to do it because he's from Detroit. He'd be inclined to stay more longer. So they're like, hey, we'll give him a contract. All things aside, he's a good talent. Like we talked about it. He was my most improved last year when we made our final decisions. I don't think it's okay. I don't condone his attitude at all, but I get it. It's the Detroit Pistons. They don't get any talent. What do you think of this?
Wait, what do you mean you don't condone his attitude?
Actions. I don't condone his I don't
Miles Turner's action?
No, not Miles Turner. Oh, did I say Miles Turner? Miles Bridges.
Oh, yeah, you said Miles Turner, so I was like, what did Miles Turner do?
No, yeah, Miles
okay,
Bridges.
So what you're saying is the Detroit Pistons are still interested in Miles Bridges potentially.
Yeah, because he's from Detroit and they'd want to. I don't condone any of it. I do understand to a certain extent. I still don't think it's okay.
I don't really know if there's any truth to the rumors. I mean, people can make up whatever shit they want, and the Pistons could be doing their due diligence. They are interested in the player, the talent they want to see, what's going on with the legal situation. But ultimately, I don't see really any team making that type of risk, that type of PR move, until you know that he can even play games. Until this court and this case is settled, which it doesn't seem like it's anywhere close to being settled. So I think he is going to be in limbo until it happens. That's just how it goes in sports. As these legal cases go on, teams wait to see the final proceeding. They wait to see what the decision is. And ultimately, a lot of the owners don't give a shit about things, but hopefully they do on this one. And I don't know what the Detroit owner is like. Thanks for watching. Shit. I didn't know it was